On behalf of GISA and its executive committee, I welcome you all to today's program on our capital outlook of the capital markets. Before I start, I would like to welcome Mr. Pankaj Pandey and Apurva Dodia, our speakers for today from ICICI Securities. And sir, I would like to say that we were eagerly wanting some speakers from the research background, and we are very happy to say that today we have got experts as analysts, not only as analysts but research expert, because what research says is tomorrow. That is why we are very happy. Madam, I also thank you for having coordinating and approaching us and arranging this meeting for us today. Thank you, Amit, Oza and Pranav for having coordinated with our members. And I would now formally welcome Pankaj Pandey, our first speaker. Pankaj bhai, you will be speaking first or Apurva bhai?
Let Pankaj bhai speak. Okay. Pankaj, you will take up, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Pankaj bhai, thank you once again. I would hand over a little, madam, if you can give a little brief on Pankaj bhai and Apurva bhai before they take over, as you are their colleague from ICICI. I would be happy so our members would know how senior they are and how much they can contribute for today.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. So I would just like to request Smita, my colleague, and without wasting much time, we have to start the session. So over to you, Smita. Smita, can you hear me? Smita? Smita, you are not audible.
I can't see Smita here. Okay, let me, do I introduce? Smita is there. Smita is there.
Yes. Smita is there. Actually, there is some audio issues with her. Smita, we can't hear you. Can you please unmute yourself? Okay, let me introduce our speakers for today's evening. So, on behalf of ICICI Securities, I'm welcoming you all from ICICI Direct, and I would like to introduce our speakers for the evening, Mr. Pankaj Pandey. He is the head of retail research at ICICI Direct and has been with ICICI Securities for the past 16 years. So, under his leadership, the ICICI Direct research team tracks over 300 companies across 16 sectors in the large, mid-cap, small-cap, and micro-cap universe. He also leads the technical and derivative desk. This research reaches out to over 5 million customers of ICICI Direct, which today is the leading online broker in the country. So, I would just like to request Mr. Pankaj Pandey, sir, to start the session. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Samriddhi. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So thanks, Samriddhi. Hi all. Wish you all a very good evening, and I hope all of you are staying safe. I welcome you all to this session. I am Pankaj Pandey, and I represent the retail research of ICICI Securities. So for today, what I'll do is that I'll broadly talk about the Indian markets, along with a bit of a brief on all major sectors and the kind of commentary which we are getting from most of the companies in that particular sector, since we have just concluded the March quarter. Now, we all know that last 1.5 years, entire globe, including us, have been sort of grappling with the COVID problem. Now, this COVID problem has been, if you look at it from an economic impact perspective, this is twice as big as the kind of problem what we faced in 2008, 2009. Because that time the GDP decline was about 2.5% global GDP decline. I'm talking about now. This time the GDP decline is more than 5%. So this is double the kind of problem what we have faced, and we're still sort of grappling with. Now, COVID phase 1 or wave 1, what happened there was that the economic damage was more severe. The lockdown was a lot more severe and that did less harm to what I call human life. Whereas COVID-2, what we have seen is that has done more harm to human life, and which is why you see the number of casualties being a lot more higher than compared to COVID-1. However, the economic damage in COVID-2 is relatively lesser than what we have seen in COVID-1. So that is how the difference between COVID-1 and COVID-2 has been. Now, the good part is that the second wave has started to decline. So daily active cases, if we look at, has started coming below lakh. It's nearly 1/4 from the top. And our sense is that as and when the vaccination picks up, which is what is expected mid of July, and as and when the vaccination is completed for 60% of the population, I think the bigger unlocking or the normalcy in the economic activity will resume big time. And this is what we have seen even in Western countries also, where you have seen 50 to 60 odd % kind of a vaccination happening. Then the economic normalcy has been sort of restored. But before I jump into that, I think what also needs to be looked at is that because of this COVID-2, there has been an impact on the business activity. Now, so you look at the number of parameters. One obviously is the e-way bill generation. So basically, any business which is in excess of 5 crore, if there is a good which needs to be transported, you need to generate e-way bills. Now, typically, if you look, it has been about 6 to 7 odd crores on a monthly basis. But in the month of May, this has sort of declined to about 3.8 odd crores. So obviously there is a business impact which is there. We also track auto volumes, especially the daily vehicle registration. What auto companies declare is our wholesale numbers. What this is data is largely the registration of vehicles, and largely this represents about 85% of the vehicles which are registered across the country. There are few states which don't participate, but Vahan overall registration gives you a decent picture. So to give you some color, November and December, we have seen daily vehicle registrations of about 85,000 happening. And now that has sort of again come down to about 1/4 or between 20 to 24,000 in the month of May and June. So obviously auto sales or all customer facing businesses have been impacted. Now we all know that GST collections have been robust off late, and we think that there is a connect also with the kind of numbers what have come out in the quarterly numbers for most of the sectors and companies. But I'll come to that later. Now on the GST side, what we have seen is that, say for example, the GST numbers which we have recently got is about 1.03, which is the number for the month of month of April. Or the business activity which happened in the month of April. So obviously half of the April was normal and half of the April we had seen lockdowns in certain geographies. But overall the numbers are quite robust even from that parameter also, because there was certain relaxation the government had given, because a lot of businesses were to file GST returns by May 20th. That was extended till June. So obviously, this number could have been higher, but for the relaxation what the government has given. But all in all, the higher GST collection is a very big positive for the economy from a structural perspective. Mind you, when we introduced GST, the basic purpose of GST was to increase the tax to GDP ratio. Now, if tax to GDP ratio goes up, what it happens that if my GST collection boosts up, eventually what will happen is that the number of the GST rates will come down. The other thing is that it gives an option or a leeway to the government to spend more on infra or do a lot more other economic activity, which is far more productive in nature. So I think it's a sort of a beginning of a new trend, still early days, but what we are seeing in terms of GST collection is pretty good. And which I think is got to do with the kind of numbers what your listed companies have been sort of coming up with. Now, coming to a bit of market performance in month of May, since the cases have started coming down, we have seen one of the best performance by Indian equities. So Indian markets were up about 6%. Even in this calendar year also, we are sort of still doing quite better with 1.5%, 11.5% kind of a jump in the overall performance. That's pretty good. Now, last month, what we've seen is that some of the pockets, like say, for example, energy, auto, reality, so these sectors haven't really performed. So we are seeing a more of a sector rotation happening, and which is why some of these historical underperformers have also started to sort of do well. But I think the underline is that you have some sectors which are doing exceptionally well. So obviously, if you look at it from a calendar year or in this calendar year, metal is one of the best performing sectors, up about 57%. In the last 8-9 months, this sector is more than doubled. And besides that, I think the mid cap and small caps continue to do well. What we have seen in the recent past also, while the Nifty might sort of take a bit of a rest or looks tired, but mid cap and small caps continue to do well, and which is what it should be, which is what we believe. So that way, I think that this is the performance on the markets. Rupee has been largely stable, so there's not much of a challenge there. Now, coming to some of the sectoral earnings and what we have seen in terms of sectors. Now, from a sector perspective, if you look at what we have seen is that most of the sectors have seen improvement in their earnings. So there is an EPS upgrade for a lot of them. See, the biggest upgrade what we are seeing is metal and mining. Similarly for capital goods, then you have telecom. So a lot of sectors have witnessed an improvement. Now coming to sectors, now in sectors, if you look at IT, if you look at, there are two sectors which have not been impacted much in the last 1.5 years or 2 years because of this COVID. Is obviously one of them is IT. Now IT largely structurally is turning very positive. One, because if you look at for most of the IT companies, what is happening is that while people talk about say dollar revenue growth, so dollar revenue growth for large cap IT companies was about 3-odd%. It's in a weak quarter, this is a fine sort of a number. In a mid cap IT company, we have seen about 4% kind of a growth. I mean, if you translate that, these numbers, typically what you are looking at is about a lower mid-teen to high-teen kind of a growth. So from that perspective, things have been good. But I think what is coming out pretty strong in this quarter is the hiring trend. So quarter on quarter, the hiring by IT companies have gone up by 36%. So which means that there is a lot more business which is on the hands, which they'll have to, or deals which they have in their hand, which they'll be executing in future. And why is this happening is that because now every business realizes that they need to sort of go online more, they need to sell online, because I think last 1.5 years, every business has realized that. Now to sell online, you need to have to spend more on IT, you need to spend more on cyber security. If more of your employees are working from home, then you need to have a better IT infrastructure, because you'll have to make your network even more secure. So which is why the demand for IT in general all across the globe has gone up. I mean, we all hear that there is a chip shortage globally. I mean, largely because of the fact that the demand for computers and mobiles in the last 1.5 years or 2 years have gone up multiple times. And that has led to a shortage in the chip industry, and which is sort of impacting a number of sectors. But all I'm trying to highlight is that businesses are going to spend more. So you'll see more of virtualization of business, and which is why IT structurally as a sector is very good from an investor perspective. What we are expecting is 12 to 17% kind of a growth for most of the companies in the IT space, something like LTI or so those are sort of exceptions. So they are expected to grow at about 20% odd. So, but in general, IT in the last decade has been the best performing sector. One, because you really do not need money to expand businesses. At best, you do minor acquisitions. Otherwise, whatever the pressure is there in terms of margin, largely the currency depreciation takes care of that. So it is one of the best sectors from a structural perspective, from a portfolio perspective. Coming to banking and financial services, what we see in terms of banking and financial is two different things. One, you have large tier one banks. You know, in the last 1 year, what was coming out was that if COVID is going to be a big problem, then half of the book will become NPA. Then after that, the anxiety or the fear subsided, and then it came out that it will be half of it. Then again, so we had various versions, revisions in that. What actually came out was that largely we haven't seen much of a damage to the asset quality of the banks. So that way, all your tier one banks have been pretty good. And in fact, some of the banks on the private side have started growing their retail book. I think where or the pockets which are struggling is largely NBFCs or the banks or the smaller banks which are catering to what I call not top of the notch or typical salaried customers. So there you have issues. So something like DCB Bank is still struggling with asset quality. City Union Bank, which is a bank which has done historically very well. It's a South-based bank, but struggling largely because they typically cater to MSMEs and SMEs, and especially on the hotel side, and those have been sort of impacted. So there are pockets where the impact has been, but you look at all your tier one banks, I think they have been doing quite fine. And in this COVID also, what we see or phase two also, the damage is not expected to be much, especially for tier one banks. And mind you, most of the market cap resides with all these big banks. So that way it does not have an impact on the market or market direction. But yes, there are pain, especially on some of the smaller banks or the NBFCs, that will remain. On the FMCG side, largely not much of a challenge this sector has faced because all these products are largely essential varieties, but there are some segments where the impact has been there. So for example, demand for a product like deodorant or for example, skin creams. So all those have sort of come down a bit, but even then, the overall sector did decently well with a growth rate of 4 to 8 odd %. But now this sector is facing some bit of a challenge in terms of input prices. So if you recall recently, last, I think a month back, where Tata Consumer, where the margin or the gross margins declined by 600 bips. And the reason for that was that the sharp or a 50% appreciation in tea prices. So whenever you see a sharp hike in prices, the typical, these companies are not able to, or they don't really pass it on in a very quick succession. So they will do it over a period of time. But what we see is that most of the input prices for a number of companies have gone up. And so they will take price hikes over a period of time. And until that time, the margins will remain under pressure. I think you have some pockets like cigarettes where the volume decline is still there and where the challenge is still high, and which is why something like ITC does not do well. But in general, this space is not expected to outperform the markets because, see, even if I take the expectation that you are seeing a normal monsoon, because what happens when you have a normal monsoon? So you have a sector which delivers 5 to 6% kind of a volume growth, and then they also take a similar so which is why they are able to grow in low double-digit kind of a scenario or high single-digit kind of a scenario. Now, if the challenge is that when you have a commodity or input cost pressure, and then on top of it, see, the valuation multiples for most of the stocks are quite expensive compared to the relative market. And you have pockets which can deliver a lot more higher growth, and which is where this sector is good from an investor perspective. But if you think that if you've got FMCG stocks and you will be able to beat the overall Nifty or mid cap and small cap, that may not be possible, because this sector will grow it at its own pace. So if you like that pace, be there in a pocket like this. Otherwise, it will do well over a long period of time. But if you're looking for next 2-3 years, it is not going to outperform. Now, coming to another sector, which is called healthcare. Now, pharma as a sector is a lot in focus. So in pharma, you have various models. So one model is typically the domestic MNC companies. So you have Abbott, Sanofi, Pfizer, GSK. So you have a number of companies on the domestic side. Now, in domestic, typically the market growth rate or industry growth rate is 6 to 8%. So these are kind of companies which is more like FMCG companies. With the only thing is that their P multiples are cheaper. So Abbott is available at 40 times on a forward basis, compared to if you look at Nestle, that will be available in excess of 60 times on a forward basis. But in general, this particular model is good, because what happens or what we expect is that for them the margin pressure is not there, because what we are seeing is that all these companies are now looking to introduce new products and culling out low margin products. The other thing is that they were impacted in the first 1.5 years, largely because the MR activity was not happening. So if MRs are not going to doctors, obviously the recommendation for the stocks does not happen. For the medicines does not happen. So which is where this business was impacted, but otherwise it's a business which is sort of a steady performer. The other is a business where you have the likes of Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy, Lupin, Aurobindo Pharma. So all these sort of companies cater to the US market, and there we are seeing volatility, or the prices of generic drugs are sort of coming down, and that is putting pressure on the margins. In COVID times, a planned approval did not happen, and which is why these sales were sort of impacted. But I think the best of the lot or the best model in pharma which is emerging is the CRAMS model. Now in CRAMS model, what happens is that you work for an innovator company. Now innovator companies typically spend 15 to 20% of their top line on R&D. So what you do, or how you help this innovator company, that you put up scientists here domestically, you do the research work for them. And if the research is successful, you produce that drug and deliver in commercial quantities or various quantities to the end consumer. So you have Divi's, which is a sort of a template, or the biggest company on the CRAMS side. And mind you, if you look at from a market cap perspective, I'll not be surprised that it eventually overtakes Sun Pharma over a period of time in market cap. So you have companies like Sun Pharma, you have companies like Syngene, you have companies like Laurus, you have companies like Suven. So if you look at margin profile of all these companies, very high, largely because the business visibility is very good for the next 8 to 10 years. Even on the chemical space side, whether you look at Navin Fluorine, PI Industries, Neogen Chemicals, so so you have a long list there, and all these companies are CRAMS players, or basically. So all these companies are CRAMS player, and this is where the biggest opportunity lies. So this is IT kind of a model with a multi-year growth story and pretty good margins. And since you are not sort of competing with the innovator, so threat of legislation and all that, which is typically there with the US companies, is not there. So that way, this is one of the other models which is coming out very good. And all these companies which I mentioned are sort of portfolio picks for a long period of time. These companies are expensive also, but they still have one of the best or can offer one of the highest growth rates. Because what we are seeing is that some of these companies are putting a kind of a capex in the last 1 or 2 years. Whatever the capex they have announced, they have actually not done in the last 5 years. So that way, this story looks quite promising for next few years to sort of come by. The other sector is cement. Now in cement, largely you don't see much of a challenge because if you look at last year first half, the demand was down. All these players had increased prices, so margin profile wise things were good. After that, they haven't really sort of reduced prices while the volume growth has picked up. So which is why this sector has seen one of the most stable numbers overall on the infrastructure side. And the demand is good. What we are seeing is now these players are looking at capacity expansion. So next 2 years, they are looking to do a capacity expansion of about 73 million tons. And this will again not cause any price disruptions. All these, so this sector, the price discipline is quite good. So irrespective of the fact that the raw material prices have gone up, they've been maintaining a pretty steady state, and which is why EBITDA per ton for most of the companies is good. The good part is that because of better demand, now you are seeing companies coming up with a capacity expansion. So take the example of Ambuja. For a long period of time, we could not give a buy on this company because there was hardly any volume growth to look at because they were sitting on a capacity and not doing much. Now, now they've come up with the capacity expansion of nearly 15 million tons. So this is the first time seeing demand now. They've started to sort of do capex. I'm seeing some hand being raised. I can take question now or probably at the end of the presentation. I'm fine with either of you. Or shall I continue?
So we'll take question and answer after
Sure.
the session. So thank you, sir. Thank you
No,
for
I'm not
giving
done.
us.
No, I am not
Okay.
done yet. Sorry.
Okay. I'm so sorry. So please
No,
continue.
we have enough time, madam.
I'm
We have
sorry.
enough time. Question answer at the end only.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sorry. So if I give that impression that it is over, so
No,
I am
sir.
actually. Yeah. So, and the next sector is auto. So, auto structurally, I don't like, or we don't like this space because see, most of the companies are not prepared for a shift for electric vehicles. So, none of them, if you look at in their gross block, they are not really spending money much, and which is why they are not really prepared for the future. So, there are only few companies which have started. The prominent among them is Tata Motors. And so that way they have laid out a plan, so which is why it is probably one of the best prepared. Then you have a bit of done being by M&M, but largely I think in auto the ancillary space looks better because OEM you really do not know eventually what they are going to do when the demand happens. So that is why this sector we don't really like, and I don't think this sector is a sort of a portfolio. While there are pockets like, say, for example, tractor sales is expected to sort of grow even at a higher base next year because of good monsoon. Thus, if infrastructure spend is expected to sort of pick up, so that should be very good for, say, CV industries or a CV segment. But in general, this sector can do sort of well in the next 2-3 months because these metal prices are expected to soften a bit. But structurally, we are not very hopeful of this sector doing much. In capital goods, what we are seeing is a good, interesting sort of a commentary. I mean, this is the first time we are seeing instances where the private sector capex is about to pick up. So before I jump to capital goods, let me sort of take up metals first because obviously it has a linkage with capital goods. Now in metals, what we are seeing is that, if you look at last quarter, we've seen companies like Tata Steel delivering EBITDA per ton of 27,000 rupees per ton. From there on itself, the prices have at least gone up by 7,000 to 8,000 odd rupees. Now, even if I am taking a lesser EBITDA per ton for next 2 years, what will happen is that the Tata Steel debt will come down by 60%. SAIL will become debt free next year because they had a debt of 51,000 crore. They paid about 16,000 odd crores. And if this EBITDA per ton is maintained, then they'll become debt free. So while metals have been a sort of a difficult sector to catch, but there is a balance sheet improvement which is being visible. See, the best company in the metal as a space has been the JSW Steel. So while Tata's have their own fair share of struggle, but JSW has come out the best, and they are still aggressive in the market. So for example, they have got a capacity of about 26 million tons. And what they are saying is that another 3-4 years, they'll be looking to add about 20 million ton kind of additional capacity. So which means that they'll be going at about 46 million tons. So obviously over the next 4-5 years, they'll be bigger player. They've been a bigger player compared to Tata Steel, and which is why they get the best multiples within the metal as a space. But what I'm trying to highlight is that every player in the metal side has started announcing capex. So, for example, if JSW Steel is saying that I'm going to do a 20 billion ton kind of a capex, that means that they are going to spend nearly 60,000 crores in the capacity. And this is only JSW. You look at ArcelorMittal, they are also talking about 14-15 million tons kind of a capacity. Tata Steel has announced a bit, and they'll announce further. You look at every metal company, they've announced a capacity expansion. And which means that while the balance sheet of this sector of metal has improved, it means a good opportunity for capital goods player. I already spoke about that the cement players are operating at, some of them are operating at closer to 90-95%. Something like JK Lakshmi Cement is operating at 100% capacity utilization. So when the private sector capex starts to pick up, you see capital goods as a sector starts getting revived. And which is why if you look at the commentary of Thermax has suddenly changed. I mean, this is one company which has been sort of very bearish in terms of their commentary in the last few years. But suddenly their commentary has turned very positive. You look at Grindwell Norton, so their commentary also has turned positive. A number of companies have started to talk more positive about the order inflows, what they're expecting over the next 2-3 years, or the kind of capex. Which is why capital goods as a sector hasn't really done so much in terms of price performance. But all your product-based companies in this space are expected to do very well. So which is where I think, and they can outperform the markets. Then on the infra side, I think road is one segment which is looking good because road awarding last year has been good, was not impacted that much. Even in FY22, even in FY22, we are expecting the awarding to sort of inch up further. So all your road players like PNC, KNR, and HEG Infra are looking good. The other sector is consumer discretionary. Now here you will see a lot more interesting commentary. I mean, you look at the kind of Asian Paints volume growth of 50%, Berger Paints nearly 60% kind of. Is that in a paint sector, it's a 50,000 crore industry. 1/3 of that industry is basically unorganized. And all these players or the unorganized players have got impacted either in terms of labor shortage or either in terms of logistical issues, and which is where all these benefit has accrued to all these listed companies. You look at piping companies, Astral and Supreme Industries, the kind of volume growth what they have delivered, 45 and 80%. And this is not the only thing. Say, for example, if I have to highlight, I have not put it slide here. Look at the logistics companies. Say, for example, TCI Express. Now, TCI Express is a company which caters to the MSME and the SME space. What they have clearly said in their con call or post results is that they, for next 5 years, they are looking to double their top line and profits by 4 times. You look at TCI, which is their sister concern. So that also is saying a 15-20% kind of a growth rate. You look at Mahindra Logistics. Mahindra Logistics is also sort of looking at a similar kind of a growth rate. Mahindra in their con call said that they expect a company like Mahindra Logistics, which is what, around 4,000 crore kind of a market cap, to be a $1 billion kind of a company. So that way, I think if you look at there are pockets where things have been good. To give you another color, so something like CRM Silk Mills. I mean, CRM Silk Mills, we all know that textile as a segment or apparel as a segment has been impacted. But that particular company is saying that they'll be able to match up their FY19 sales in FY22, which means that FY19 was a normal year because there was not much of a COVID impact, no COVID impact. And FY22, they're expecting that they'll be match up to that sales. So you're seeing a lot more positive commentary, and what this also resonates is that the unorganized segment has been impacted a lot across pockets. I mean, so even if I come to retail, you look at companies like TTK Prestige, Hawkins, so all of them have reported pretty healthy growth rate. Again, because of the fact that the unorganized pocket has impacted. Something like Relaxo Last year also there was not much of a decline. So without decline also they have reported 38% kind of a growth. You look at category as a fans. I mean, in fans you have 150 plus players. So which is why commentary of Bajaj Electricals or Crompton Consumer has been pretty robust. And which is why we would want to believe that structurally GST collections have been good, because typically the organized player is where most of the GST collections happen. So that way, I think there's a structural change which is sort of probably happening. Now, when the entire economy unlocks, obviously there will be some unorganized players which will come back in the market. But I think the benefits are still structural for a lot of these players in terms of market share. And which is very good from an economic perspective, which is good from the perspective of listed companies. Because as an investor, we look at only the we can only look at the listed universe and how it is doing in terms of profitability or revenues going forward. So that way, I think positive things are coming out. The other pocket is real estate, and now real estate also is turning out to be a pretty interesting sector. Here, see if you look at the share of top 10 players, it used to be about 6% last year, FY17. Now it's about nearly 19 or 20%. Largely because this industry also is 90-95% unorganized. In the last 2-3 years, what has happened is that post IL&FS crisis, no NBFC is willing to sort of lend them money. Similarly, people are not, or landowners are preferring to sort of tie up with reputed builders. The other thing is that even from a buyer perspective, post RERA, because now you cannot really sort of do the kind of tricks what players used to do earlier. So because of RERA, the supply has come down. So, and then there is a input cost prices. We all see that the steel prices have jumped or doubled in the last 1 year. So input cost prices have gone up. So I think it's a matter of time before this sector starts performing both in terms of volume-wise, in terms of revenues, and in terms of margins also. But largely, again, here also a consolidation or a shift towards listed spaces happening, because most of your organized players are on the listed side. Now coming to Nifty, I'll about to sort of close. So what we have seen is that in this last quarter, the Nifty EPS for FY22 and FY23 is increased by 40 rupees. So if my previous Nifty EPS was 740, now it is about 780. And if I am giving a multiple of say 22 times, typically my target also gets revised upwards by that. So earlier we have a target of 16,300 on the Nifty. Now that target is revised to 17,150. And if the numbers keep getting better, I'll not be surprised these numbers could be higher. The other thing is that we also need to look at in mind is that as and when the more expensive stocks keep coming to the index and the cheaper ones sort of move out, the Nifty P multiples could sort of keep getting higher. So that is one. I think on the, I haven't really touched much on the global perspective, but only 1 or 2 points. Things which we need to worry or need to track. So US Fed looks at 2 things. One, they are looking at the unemployment rate, and they are looking at the inflation. Rate is a bigger factor. Now, what we have seen in terms of job creation in the last 2 months is the expectation was that the 10 lakh jobs will get created in a month. In April, that was some 2,70,000 kind of a number, which improved to 5,60,000. And then you have inflation as a target. Now, till the time we really do not hit closer to those levels, I think till that time, the liquidity conditions globally are expected to remain decent. And which is why I think we will not see many jerks in our market, and which is why the markets will remain at elevated levels. And whenever the economy does well and structurally does well over the next few years, which is what we expect because the GST numbers and a lot of formalization happening in the economy. So what it means is that the mid caps and small caps will do the best. Mid caps and small caps get impacted the most when the economic or macroeconomic scenario is a bit volatile. Now we are sort of entering into a zone where the macroeconomic numbers are going to be a lot more stable, and which is why mid caps, small caps as a segment look very attractive. Besides that, in terms of sectors, I think IT, pharma, structurally for next 5-10 years are very good sectors. in between for next 2-3 years, I think banking and infra or real estate as a pocket or consumer durable as a pocket can do well. So that's all I have. That's all I have.
Okay, so thank you, sir, for giving us insight about market. Now there is a small announcement from our end that whatever Pankaj sir has briefed you all, we would like to share an update with you. So to get full details of the session and for further updates, mail will be sent to you all. So kindly drop your name, mobile number, and email so that we can share further details post session with you. And now coming to our second part of this session, I would like to request Mr. Apurva Dodia, next speaker of the evening, who's having 20 plus years of experience in financial services and owns a position of regional head for Gujarat in ICICI Securities Limited. So over to you, Mr. Apurva.
Hi everyone, good evening to you. The Pankaj has covered the market. I would like to just introduce myself and also introduce our business, what we do here. And we can connect with ICICI Securities, any division, any part through our team. So me, myself, and Tejas Davda is also on the call right now. So we are both here in Gujarat. And I'm based at Ahmedabad. Tejas is also based at Ahmedabad, but we travel across Gujarat at various locations. And we manage a book of about 10,000 crore of client AUM here under the private wealth management. So my division is private wealth. So ICICI Securities is basically divided into 3 businesses. One is the capital market division, which is ICICI Direct, which is our platform. So we are here to advise or to people who doesn't need advice, just want to use the platform, because it is very important that when you deal with any equity market, capital market player, your money is lying safe at a trust level like ICICI Bank, and your demat is also at a strong player, so that you don't have to worry about your money as a custodian, which is there. So ISEC is that player which is there in the market. And the another business what we have is our capital market, where we are into investment banking. So we are also one of the largest investment bank, where we bring corporates, companies, IPOs, we raise money for them in the capital market. So end to end, we are a very large capital market player, and where Pankaj ji is our research head for covering the maximum number of corporates we cover as a group in the market. So we help you with any kind of knowledge, any kind of information which can be helpful for you to invest in the market. Okay. Just bring our platform. My private wealth platform offers clients not only direct equity, but we also offer mutual funds advisory. We offer PMS advisory services. So we have tie up with all the top PMS fund managers across the country. We have our own premium portfolio, which is kind of a service where we offer our selected stocks in that premium portfolio, where the investment starts from minimum with 5 lakh of rupees. So that is a very unique feature what we offer on our platform. And our platform is online as well as offline. So people who are not comfortable online, we help them to do offline also. But the best part is that your security and everything is with ICICI Group. So which is very, very a strong commitment from our group in terms of the custodian part of the whole thing. And third business, what we are now doing is that we are also helping clients to invest into unlisted shares, which are not part of the covered under our research, but at least those who want to take opportunity to unlisted market. As you see that there are unlisted market is also becoming a very quite big and very large. So companies like Zomato and all are raising so much of fund, and some people want to participate before they get listed, like Paytm, Zomato, all those technological or non-technological, like NSC or any other company. So we deal into that also. Plus, we also help clients with whenever they need funding. So we have our platform of loan against shares, loan against properties, loan against any loan services what you are looking for. We can offer those products to you. And all these products are offered on our private wealth platform. And we are also have a lot of AIF on our platform. AIF is alternate investment funds, which helps investor to diversify from doing direct equity to also into specific focused approach fund, where it is managed by and structured by a fund manager in a different way compared to a normal mutual fund. So that also we offer on our platform, and plus any kind of investment. So basically our job is to ensure that when you allocate your investment, which is not limited to only equity, but also to bond market, debt market, gold, and any other kind of asset class, wherever, like commodities also we have on our platform. So we basically try to diversify your portfolio and ensure that you are able to make good returns, and you are balanced in your approach, where a high return is coming from equity, but there is also a regular income coming from the debt side of the portfolio. So there also we advise. And now we have a platform which is we call as Wealth Partner. So from here, what we want to do, because our team is not so big, so we want to reach out to investors, as many as investors are possible. So we have done a program called Wealth Partners in our on our ICICI Direct platform, where we tie up with people who knows a lot of investors in the market, and they want to bring those investors, or they want to become an advisor to them in investment. We will appoint them as a partner with us. Okay, so we call them Wealth Partners. They can be either they will be taking care of the portfolio, or they will be only just referring that client to us. Also, we can make them partners. So anybody, if you want to do, because we may not be able to reach to the every part of the corner of Gujarat. So at least those who have known contact people who want to do this work, we can help them. Okay. Or anything related to any investment, you can always touch base with us. Me, I am there. Tejas Davda is there. So kai pan hoy to sahib, we are always available, and we are always easy to reach for you. And we can connect you with any of the research related points you have. We are always there to help you. So I'll open the floor for everyone to ask questions to Pankaj ji or myself. Please be free. And thank you very much for your time for being on this call.
Pranav, one by one, you can start. Some people have raised their hands.
Yes, Deepak Kumar. દીપક કુમાર ને ક્વેશ્ચન પૂછવો છે, એમણે હેન્ડ રેઝ કર્યો છે. દીપક કુમાર. દીપક કુમાર, તમારો ક્વેશ્ચન તમે પૂછી શકો છો.
એમને અનમ્યુટ કરો, કદાચ નહીં
તમારે અનમ્યુટ. દીપકભાઈ, તમારો અવાજ નથી આવતો. અનમ્યુટ કરવું પડશે તમારે.
Okay.
હવે બોલો.
Well, I don't have any question. Actually, I'm not familiar with Zoom.
ઓકે,
No question.
ઓકે, ઓકે, નો પ્રોબ્લેમ.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
પ્રકાશભાઈ, આપનો ક્વેશ્ચન પૂછો. પ્રકાશભાઈ.
સેકન્ડ.
યસ, પ્રકાશભાઈએ હેન્ડ રેઝ કર્યો છે.
કદાચ ભૂલથી થયો હોય એવું થઈ શકે. પૂછી
યસ,
જો.
યસ.
વાંધો નહીં.
નેક્સ્ટ. I'll ask one question to Pankaj ji.
અપૂર્વભાઈ,
पंकज जी, this dedicated freight corridor है जो DFC है, so who are the major benefits? I know Gateway District Park is there, Concord is there, Port, Adani Port, Gujarat Pipavav Port. So how do you see opportunities in DFC?
So in DFC, one portion is operational from 1st of April. That is what has been communicated. Now, what it does is that your capacity will sort of multiply by nearly 8 to 10 times So that is the kind of a carrying capacity. Now you can sort of double stack the container, the speed of the container or the train itself will be 4 times or 5 times faster. So that is how the capacity goes up. Now the biggest beneficiary of that is obviously the Gujarat Pipavav Port, because they are already sort of connected with that. Besides that, obviously Concor and Gateway District Park, like you said, have been sort of doing good. In fact, the Gateway District Park, the number improvement is pretty good. If you look at the EBITDA per what do you call container, what they've been sort of getting, so that way I think there is a phenomenal improvement in the performance. Concor again, Concor, the thing is that bulk of their capex is behind them, and one of the issue was the land licensing issue, which the company has indicated that they have sorted out. Now it is a matter of time this gets sold. So largely the expectation is that the Adani port is what is going to likely buy it. But even without that, also Adani has indicated that they will be creating a mammoth capacity over the next 4-5 years. So that way, I think I like this entire space a lot. Logistics. I mean, you look at TCI Express. You look at Mahindra Logistics. Mahindra Logistics, what is it that they are saying? They are saying that I will be doing 3PL or third-party logistics. So basically, I will be picking up a raw material from a plant, from the vendor, putting or giving it giving you at the factory. You make the product, and I'll pick up your product and I'll put it in the showroom. So everything is being managed by them. And again, like I said, Mahindra in their group con call said that all these are billion-dollar businesses. So this is one space where the commentary is that 12 to 15% growth is a very sort of a normative kind of a growth, if not more. And mind you, I mean, if so much of a PLI has come, so what happens that you need to have a good backbone of logistics, and which is where I think all these companies have a big role to play. I mean, imagine in China, if Apple is manufacturing an iPhone, the product gets manufactured on the same day and is put on the ship on the same day. Can we think in our country something like that? Not yet, but that is eventually the plan. Because if you are taking, say, 10 days to put that product into a ship for export, then that's a huge amount of time, because that's a working capital, which is, and it can kill bigger companies. So I think I see a big turnaround in the space across. And I'll not be surprised if we are doing this session next 3-4 years and all these stocks turn out to be multi-baggers.
Thank you very much.
हेलो
हेलो
साहब, वो उसमें शुगर शेयर में क्या करने का?
So sugars में if you look at 2-3 चीजें हो रही हैं. So for example, शुगर में अगर आप देखेंगे हम करीब 30-32 मिलियन टन प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, और हमारा जो कंजम्पशन होता है करीब 24-25 मिलियन टन का होता है. तो हमेशा 6-7 मिलियन टन का सरप्लस होता है. पहले सरकार एक्सपोर्ट इंसेंटिव देती थी ताकि ये शुगर इंडिया से बाहर जा सके और फार्मर को मिले. अभी क्या हो रहा है कि उसका कुछ पोर्शन आपने इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग में लगा दिया है. तो अभी आपका इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग 7.5% है. आगे जाके आपने बोल दिया है कि 2023 से हम इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग को 20% कर देंगे. इथेनॉल के धंधे में कंपनीज का ज्यादा पैसा बनता है. शुगर के बिजनेस में प्रॉब्लम ये होता है कि आपके इतने कंट्रोल्स होते हैं कि आप अगर आप कभी पढ़ेंगे तो देखिए कि मंथली कंट्रोल सिस्टम भी होता था कि आप इस महीने में इतना ही इन्वेंट्री बेच सकते हैं. तो सरकार काफी लेवल का कंट्रोल करता था. तो आई थिंक ये अगर इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग 20% होता है तो मेरे हिसाब से ये सेक्टर काफी बेहतर करेगा. बिकॉज अभी भी आप पी मल्टीपल देखिए, सब 6 बलरामपुर चीनी 6-7 के मल्टीपल पे आपको मिलता है. डेट का कोई इशू नहीं है, बैलेंस शीट सब बराबर है. अभी इसमें एक ही इशू ये है कि जो आपका इथेनॉल का बिजनेस है वो 15% है आपके टॉप टर्नओवर का. बाकी जो 85% है शुगर का बिजनेस. अभी आप किसी भी पर्सन से बात कर लीजिए, कोई शुगर तो ज्यादा कंज्यूम करने वाला नहीं है, बिकॉज एवरीबडी वुड वांट टू एटलीस्ट लोअर देयर शुगर इनटेक. तो शुगर का कोई कंजम्पशन बढ़ने वाला नहीं, इनफैक्ट इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा है. तो इथेनॉल का धंधा अगर जितना जल्दी बढ़ेगा और जो कि बढ़ रहा है तो उतना ही बेटर है शुगर कंपनी. तो मेरे हिसाब से ये अभी 5-6 के मल्टीपल पे है. ये किसी भी ऑयल एंड गैस कंपनी से बेटर है, बिकॉज एटलीस्ट इसमें क्या है, आपको फार्मर को भी फायदा होता है. तो चाहे वो महाराष्ट्र हो या यूपी हो या बाकी और सदर्न स्टेट्स हो, तो ये फार्मर्स के लिए काफी रेन्यूमरेटिव क्रॉप है. इसीलिए सरकार का भी फोकस इस पर रहने वाला है. तो मेरे हिसाब से ये पूरा वैल्यू चेन के लिए अच्छा है। तो दैट वे ये सेक्टर अगेन मुझे काफी अच्छा लगता है। ये सेक्टर में हम ही लोग हैं जहाँ पे आई थिंक जो ऑलमोस्ट सारे स्टॉक्स कवर करते हैं। इसमें हम काफी टाइम से बुलिश है और आई थिंक जो सरकार ने अभी ये 7.5% या 20% किया है। देखिए ब्राजील में 50% तक ब्लेंडिंग होता है, तो स्कोप तो बहुत ज्यादा है। एंड ब्लेंडिंग सिर्फ आप शुगर केन से नहीं करते हो, आप कल को आप कौन से भी कर सकते हो, बहुत सारी चीजों से कर सकते हो, जितना भी एग्री वेस्ट है सब कर सकते हो। तो मेरे
एक
हिसाब
आप
से ये सेक्टर काफी अच्छा लगता है। तो ये हाँ जी
सर, अभी जो टाटा ग्रुप है, रिलायंस है और अदानी है, who will
हाँ।
be the first now? They are all are going in runner up of 1, 2, 3 or something.
So my personal favorite is Tata. So where I'm coming from is कि देखिए सी टाटाज में अगर आप देखेंगे पिछले 5-10 साल में आई थिंक जितने भी एक्विजिशन किए सब उनके लिए मतलब लिटरली बैकफायर कर चुके हैं। बट उनके अब कंपनीज का अगर आप देखिए तो फॉर एग्जांपल टीसीएस जो टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनी है सबसे ज्यादा कैश जनरेट करती है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, आपका 12 से 15% वो ग्रो करती रहेगी, सबसे बड़ा मार्केट कैप है, ठीक है। देन दूसरा अगर आप उसके बाकी बिजनेसेस देखते हैं जैसे टाटा स्टील है, अभी टाटा स्टील का भी अगर आप देखेंगे जैसे मैंने बात किया कि अभी वो एक टाइम में 1 लाख करोड़ के ऊपर के डेट पे थे। बट चूंकि अभी लास्ट 2-3 साल से इनका या 1 साल से 1.5 साल से परफॉर्मेंस काफी सुधरने लगा है, आपका स्टील के प्राइसेस काफी ऊंचे हैं, तो इनका डेट का वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगा। टाटा मोटर्स भी वही कर रहा है। टाटा मोटर्स में जो इतने मॉडल्स हैं उन्होंने बिल्कुल क्लियरली बोल दिया है कि अभी हम सारे मॉडल्स को प्रूव डाउन करेंगे। कुछ ही मॉडल पे खर्चा करेंगे बट उधर पे हम ईवी भी लेके आएंगे और वही मॉडल्स हम परस्यू करेंगे, तो पूरा फ्री कैश। तो एक पूरा टर्न अराउंड हो रहा है टाटा ग्रुप में अंडर चंद्रा जी की, जहां पे फोकस ग्रोथ का है। जैसे अभी मैं टाटा कम्युनिकेशन जैसा कंपनी का बात करता हूँ। आप पिछले 10 साल से देख लीजिए स्टॉक में कुछ नहीं हुआ होगा, कुछ परफॉर्मेंस नहीं था। नाउ जो उनके एमडी एंड सीईओ है वो इनके राइट हैंड रहे हैं मिस्टर चंद्रा के, और उनको मैंडेट बहुत क्लियरली है कि आपको डबल डिजिट ग्रोथ लाके देना है, कुछ और फालतू का एक्विजिशन नहीं करना है और कुछ नहीं करना है। तो मेरे ख्याल से टाटा ग्रुप में अक्रॉस एक मैसेज बहुत क्लियर है कि आपको डबल डिजिट में ग्रो करना है, आपको रिटर्न रेशियोज अच्छा मेंटेन करना है, कोई फालतू का काम नहीं करना है। तो एंड वो सारे बिजनेसेस अगर आप देखो तो बिल्कुल राइटली प्लेस्ड। इवन आप टाटा कंज्यूमर देखिए, फूड बिजनेस है, फूड बिजनेस में क्या है कि आप ज्यादा रिन या सर्फ तो नहीं कंज्यूम करेंगे, बट अगर आप देखिए पहले हम लोग अचार भी खुद बनाते थे, अभी धीरे धीरे हम पैकेज कंज्यूम करने लगे, धीरे धीरे हम आटा करने लगे। अभी आप देखिए दाल भी अगर आप देखें या पोहा देखें, आई डोंट नो गुजरात में कितना कंज्यूम होता है, बट ये सब अभी आप पैकेज फूड की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं। जैसे जैसे औरतें और विमेन वर्कफोर्स ज्वाइन करेंगी ये ट्रेंड बढ़ने वाला है। तो उनके सारे बिजनेसेस राइट प्लेस पे हैं एंड अभी राइट पुश मिला हुआ है। तो मेरे हिसाब से वो सबसे बेस्ट ग्रुप है फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव। सी नॉट टू से दैट रिलायंस ये नहीं है, बट रिलायंस में क्या है कि आपका जो सबसे बड़ा पैसा आता है वो आपका ऑयल एंड गैस से बिजनेस से आता है। अभी वो आपका इन्वायरमेंटल फ्रेंडली माना नहीं जाता, हालांकि रिलायंस ने एक टाइम फ्रेम दिया है कि 2035 तक वो शिफ्ट करेंगे, बट एक चैलेंज फिर भी रहता है कि यू आर कैरिंग गुड अमाउंट ऑफ बैगेज। टेलीकॉम का बिजनेस भी वैसे ही है कि जहां पे आपका अगर आप देखेंगे टेलीकॉम के बिजनेस में काफी कैपिटल इंटेंसिव है। आप ग्लोबली देख लीजिए किसी बड़ी कंपनी ने भी इतना बड़ा पैसा कमाया नहीं है। अभी 5G आएगा, फिर उसके बाद में 6G आता है, तो कुछ ना कुछ टेक्नोलॉजी चेंज होता रहता है, तो वो एक थोड़ा चैलेंज रहता है। अदानी में देखिए, वो अदानी ग्रुप में अगर आप देखेंगे तो कुछ कुछ बिजनेस नहीं समझ में आते हैं, बट जो समझ में आते हैं जैसे अदानी पोर्ट आई थिंक पूरा मोनोपोली की तरफ जा रहा है कि सारा पोर्ट का कैपेसिटी उन्हीं के पास में है, इसके अलावा और किसी के पास में नहीं है। देन अदानी टोटल गैस, तो अगर आप देखिए गैस में आपके पास में रीजनल प्लेयर्स हैं। एक आपके पास में गुजरात गैस है जो कि कुछ पॉकेट में ऑपरेट करता है, आपके पास में महानगर गैस है जो मुंबई और नियर बाय रीजन्स में ऑपरेट करता है, एंड आपके पास में आईजीएल है जो दिल्ली और एनसीआर में ऑपरेट करता है। पैन इंडिया प्लेयर तो कोई है नहीं, तो सबसे ज्यादा बिडिंग किया हुआ है अदानी गैस ने किया हुआ है, एंड ये काफी अट्रैक्टिव बिजनेस है। तो मेरे हिसाब से ये सारे एन्युटी वाले बिजनेस जो है वो अदानी ग्रुप टैप करने में लगा हुआ है, तो वो एक अलग बिजनेस मॉडल है, बट इनका खर्चा लगता है। मेरे हिसाब से बिजनेस सबसे अच्छा वही होता है जिसमें खर्चा कम लगे और जो आपको रिटर्न दे। तो जैसे मैंने बताया आईटी आपका जो टाटा के पास में है, वो धंधे ऐसे हैं कि जिसमें पैसा ज्यादा नहीं लगे। आप ठीक है ऑटो में लग सकता है, मेटल में लग सकता है, बट बाकी और बिजनेसेस में पैसा उतना ज्यादा नहीं लगेगा। मेरे हिसाब से वो सबसे बेस्ट वही एज अ ग्रुप प्लेस्ड।
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Apurva bhai, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir. Bolo Samir bhai.
In your widespread services which you provide,
Yes.
we have very senior advisor, we have very senior investors, seasoned investors. એટલે you have given our members one opportunity of referrals or becoming advisors.
Yes.
I think those who are interested, we will send you the mails received from Apurva bhai's office. Everybody should look into it. અને જેને પણ રસ હોય,
Please.
તમે ભલે ઘરે બેઠા હો, આપણા સિનિયર સિટીઝન્સ છે, પણ થોડું થોડું ઇન્ટરેક્ટ કરવાનું અને કામ કરવાનું with some income. It's, I think, a very good opportunity for at least our members, Apurva bhai.
Yes, yes.
I really
અને
like
આની અંદર
that model. If you would like
just
to highlight a little on
Yes.
that, I would appreciate.
sure Samir bhai, sure Samir bhai. તો હવે હું થોડું ગુજરાતીમાં વાત કરું કેમ કે આપણા વધારે પડતા બધા લોકો ગુજરાતી છે તો मुझे माफ करना पंकज जी
नहीं, कोई इशू नहीं है। मैं सी अभी क्या है, मेरे टीम में 50% से ज्यादा लोग गुजराती हैं,
ગુજરાતી है
तो मुझे
એટલે
टोकना
અમારા-
पड़ता है कि यार अभी हिंदी में बात कर लो। मैं
અમારા
સમજ નહીં
કંપનીમાં
પાતા.
એટલે પંકજજી જે શું કહે છે કે અમારી કંપનીના અંદર જે ઇક્વિટી એડવાઇઝર્સ હોય એમાં પણ અડધાથી વધારે ગુજરાતી છે ઇક્વિટી રિસર્ચમાં એ પણ ગુજરાતી છે
है,
અને ઘણા
काफी
લોકો
है,
ગુજરાતી
मतलब
છે એટલે
हाफ ऑफ
ગુજરાતી
माय
બધી जगह રહેવાનું કેમ કે
एनालिस्ट जो है ना वो गुजराती है, तो
હાફ ઓફ ધ
कुछ
એનાલિસ્ટિસ આર
शब्द मैंने
ગુજરાતી
पकड़ लिया है कि શું લેવાનું છે, तो अभी थोड़ा थोड़ा आई एम सॉर्ट ऑफ
હા.
पिकिंग अप, बट ठीक है, अभी स्टिल माइल्स टू
તો સર
Apurva bhai,
અમારું
commercial model સમજાવો તમે થોડું
હા હા
મારા
હું
member.
તમને સમજાવું તો શું છે કે અમે જે શું કરવા માંગીએ છીએ કે અમારું જે પ્લેટફોર્મ છે ને એ પ્લેટફોર્મ પહેલા સૌથી પહેલા તો વસ્તુ એવું છે કે અમારું પ્લેટફોર્મ ઓનલાઈન પ્લેટફોર્મ છે ઓકે અને ઓનલાઈન અને ફિઝિકલમાં બહુ ફરક હોય ફિઝિકલમાં શું હોય કે તમારે બધું ડોક્યુમેન્ટેશન સિગ્નેચરો ને આ બધું કરાવવું પડે જે આજકાલ બહુ જ ટીડીએસ વસ્તુ છે અત્યારે તો કોઈ મળતા નથી પણ આમે હવે ધીમે ધીમે બધી વસ્તુમાં એ સિગ્નેચર કરાવવું ને એવું બધું કામ હવે બહુ ટીડીએસ કામ છે એટલે તમારા જેવા માટે સિનિયર સિટીઝન અને સિનિયર લોકો માટે બેસ્ટ છે કે તમારે ખાલી રેફરલ આપી અને અમારા બધાની મદદ લેવાની યંગ છોકરાઓની જે લોકો તમારા માટે બધું કામ કરે તમારે ખાલી કસ્ટમર તમે આઈડેન્ટિફાઈ કર્યો હોય અને એના કસ્ટમર વિશે થોડી ઇન્ફોર્મેશન અમને આપો તો અમે તમને ગાઈડ કરી શકીએ કે તમારે શું કરવાનું એની અંદર છે કે અમે લાર્જ ક્લાયન્ટ્સ ને પણ મેનેજ કરીએ છીએ એટલે એક એક કસ્ટમરની નેટવર્ક 100 કરોડની ઉપર હોય 200 કરોડની ઉપર હોય એવા ક્લાયન્ટ અમે મેનેજ કરીએ છીએ એટલે તમે સમજી શકો છો કે એડવાઇસ નાનો કસ્ટમર હોય કે મોટો કસ્ટમર હોય બધાને સેમ જ હોય ઓકે પણ આને વ્યવસ્થિત રીતે કેવી સાચી રીતે આપવી એ અમે ગાઈડ કરીએ એમને ઓકે અને બીજું સૌથી મહત્વની વસ્તુ છે કે અમારું આઈસીઆઈસીઆઈ સિક્યુરિટીઝ હોય કે અમે લોકોએ કે હું પોતે અમારો એક નિયમ છે કે કોઈ દિવસે કોઈ પણ અમને પોતાને બેનિફિટ થાય એવી ટાઈપની એડવાઇસ નહીં આપવાની ક્લાયન્ટને જે બેનિફિટ થતો હોય એવી એડવાઇસ આપવાની અને કોઈ પૈસા માટે કે રેવન્યુ માટે કોઈ એડવાઇસ નહીં આપવાની કેમ કે એ તો બાય પ્રોડક્ટ છે કે જેમ અમે સારી એડવાઇસ આપશું તો કસ્ટમર અમને વધારે પૈસા આપવાના જ છે અને અમે મેનેજ કરી રહ્યા છે અમારી સાઇઝ ટુડે વી મેનેજ ઓલમોસ્ટ નિયરલી 4 લાખ કરોડ ઓફ AUM એઝ અ કંપની ઓકે સો ધેટ વી ડોન્ટ હેવ ટુ વરી અબાઉટ ઇટ પણ જે સારી જગ્યાએ કે અમારું રીચ એટલું બધું ના થઈ શકે અમે લોકો એટલા બધા હાયર ના કરી શકીએ આજકાલ ઉલટાનું એવી કંપનીઝ આવી ગઈ છે કે જે લોકો વિધાઉટ પીપલ એમ્પ્લોય વિના કંપનીઓ ચલાવે છે જેમ કે ઝીરોધા જેવી કંપનીઓ છે ઓકે પણ અમે શું કરવા માંગીએ છીએ કે અમે કસ્ટમર લોકોને એક ફેસ હોવો જોઈએ કે એક માણસ હોવો જોઈએ કે જે આ કંપનીનો રિપ્રેઝેન્ટેટિવ છે એવું અમારે નથી કેવું કે ખાલી મોબાઈલથી અને ફોનથી જ બધું થાય કામ અમારે લોકો હોય છે જે તમને એડવાઇસ કરે તમને હેલ્પ કરે અને તમારું કામ સારું થાય એવી રીતના અમે એવો સપોર્ટ આપીએ છીએ અને આની અંદર ફી નું કમાવાનું કેવું છે કે અમે એટલા માટે એનું નામ આપ્યું છે વેલ્થ પાર્ટનર્સ મતલબ કે એવું નથી કે અમારે જ કમાઈ લેવું છે અમારે એવી રીતના કરવું છે કે તમે કમાઓ તો તમે બીજા નવા કસ્ટમર લાવશો એટલે એની અંદર અમે કોઈ બાંધછોડ રાખી નથી અમે બહુ સારું પાસ એની અંદર જે ફી હોય શેરિંગ એ બહુ સારું શેરિંગ કરીએ છીએ બધાની અંદર ખાલી અમારો ઓબ્જેક્ટિવ શું હોય કે અમે લોકો બધા સેગમેન્ટના કસ્ટમરને અમે કેટર ના કરી શકીએ એટલે ખાલી અમે અમુક ઓલા તમને ગાઈડલાઇન્સ આપીએ કે આવી ટાઈપના કસ્ટમર તમે ધ્યાનમાં રાખો અને એને જે પણ સલાહ જોતી હોય એનું એક્ઝિસ્ટિંગ પોર્ટફોલિયોનો રિવ્યુ કરવો હોય એનો સ્ટડી કરવો હોય એમાં શું કરવું જોઈએ, જેમ કે ચેન્જીસ, જેમ કે પંકજજી હમણાં કીધું કે સુગર શેર્સમાં તમને બહુ કઈ ઓપોર્ચ્યુનિટી બહુ લાગતી નથી, ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ. આઈ એમ નોટ સેઇંગ કે આઈ એમ જસ્ટ ગિવિંગ એન એક્ઝામ્પલ. તો એવી રીતના એના પોર્ટફોલિયોમાં શું શું છે એનું અમે આખું એનાલિસિસ કરીએ ને એને અમે ફીડબેક આપીએ કે આમાં આ ચેન્જીસ કરવા જોઈએ. કેમ કે શું છે કે જેમ સૌથી મોટો વર્ડ છે એસેટ એલોકેશન. ઓકે, એસેટ એલોકેશન એટલે કે તમારું જે પણ તમારું રોકાણ છે એ રોકાણની અંદર કયા બાસ્કેટમાં કેટલું રોકાણ છે એ બહુ મહત્વનું છે. માની લો કે તમે એક જ સ્ટોક તમારો 80% હોય અને તમે મહેનતે 10% વાળા સ્ટોકમાં જેમાં વેલ્યુ કાંઈ ન હોય ને એના ઉપર તમે વધતું હોય ને તમે ખુશ થતા હોય તો એનો કોઈ મતલબ નથી. કે તમારો 80% સ્ટોક જો વધતો ના હોય તો તમારું એસેટમાં કોઈ એલોકેશન બરાબર નથી તમારું. એટલે એ બધા ફેક્ટર્સને ધ્યાનમાં રાખીને અમે અમારી સલાહ આપીએ. અને ઇવન જેને ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ હોય, માન લો કે તમે જે અમારા માટે કામ કરો તો તમને જે ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ હોય એમાં તમને અમે હેલ્પ કરીએ કે કઈ રીતના આને પોર્ટફોલિયોમાં ચેન્જીસ લાવવા જોઈએ. એટલે ઓટોમેટિક તમને પણ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ આવે, તમારા પોતાના પોર્ટફોલિયોમાં ફાયદો થાય, પ્લસ તમે કોઈ બીજાને હેલ્પ કરી દો તો એને પણ ફાયદો થાય. તેમ આ બધું સાયન્ટિફિક વસ્તુ છે. એવું નથી કે આ બધું, હા ઘણીવાર લક ને બધું કામ કરે એ વસ્તુ અલગ છે, પણ લક સિવાયમાં અમે બધા લોકો શેના માટે છે કે અમે તમને સાયન્ટિફિકલી કેમ તમારે આ પોર્ટફોલિયો મેનેજ કરવો જોઈએ, એસેટ એલોકેશન રાઈટ હોવું જોઈએ, જ્યારે તમારા બાળકો મોટા થશે તો તમારો પોર્ટફોલિયોને કઈ રીતના એને પણ થોડું ગાઈડન્સ મળે, એ બધામાં અમે ધ્યાન રાખીએ છીએ. અમારું એક બહુ જ સરસ અમે હમણાં એક લોન્ચ કર્યું છે રિટાયરમેન્ટ પ્લાનિંગ. રિટાયરમેન્ટ પ્લાનિંગમાં અમે શું ધ્યાનમાં રાખીએ છીએ કે ઇક્વિટી સિવાય જો ડેટ સેગમેન્ટ છે એનું પણ ધ્યાનમાં રાખીને તમને એશ્યોર રિટર્ન મળે એવી ટાઈપના પણ અમે પ્રોડક્ટ ડિઝાઇન કર્યા છે. એટલે હવે હું તમને કહું કે એમાં એવી રીતના કર્યું છે અમે કે અત્યારે રિટાયરમેન્ટ પ્લાનિંગમાં કોઈ પણ એજ ગ્રુપ હોય 45 ટુ લઈને 60 સુધી, એ જો આ એજ ગ્રુપમાં આવી જાય તો એને એવું થાય કે તમે જેવી રીતના બધા આટલા સરસ સેટલ છો, સારી રીતે આરામથી જીવો છો, એવું એ લોકો પણ એનું ફ્યુચર રિટાયરમેન્ટ એવી રીતના પ્લાન કરી શકે અત્યારથી. કેમ કે આજકાલ બધા લોકો કમાવામાં ધ્યાન રાખે છે, પણ કમાવા જેટલું જ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે સેવિંગ્સ કરવું ને સેવિંગ્સ કરીને ઇન્વેસ્ટ કરવું. નોર્મલી ગુજરાતી લોકો બધા જાણતા જ હોય છે, એને ટ્રેનિંગ આપવાની જરૂર નથી, પણ છતાંય આ અમુક થોડુંક વ્યવસ્થિત વિચારીને આપણે કરીએ ને તો એ વધારે તમે સારી રીતે ઇફેક્ટિવલી ધ્યાનમાં રાખી શકો છો. એટલે એક થઈ ગયું તમારું સેવિંગ્સ થઈ ગયું, સેવિંગ્સ પછી ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ થઈ ગયું, અને થર્ડ થિંગ બહુ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ હોય પ્રોટેક્શન. પ્રોટેક્શન એટલે કે આ ગમે તેવી સિચ્યુએશન આવે તમને તમારા હેલ્થ રિલેટેડ કવરેજ તમારું પ્રોપર હોવું જોઈએ, તમારું લાઈફ કવરેજ પ્રોપર હોવું જોઈએ. તમને ખબર છે કે આપણા ગુજરાતમાં કેટલા લોકો યંગ છોકરાઓ કોવિડના કારણે ગુજરી ગયા. તમે વિચાર કરો, એ લોકોના બાળકોને કોઈ ધ્યાન રાખવાવાળું નથી, એવા સિચ્યુએશન આવી ગઈ. પણ આવી ટાઈપની સિચ્યુએશન હોય, જો કદાચ એને રિસ્ક કવર લીધો હોય જેની કોસ્ટ બહુ નોમિનલ હોય છે, તમે જે રેસ્ટોરન્ટમાં જમવા જાઓ ને એટલી કોસ્ટમાં તમે માણસનું કવરેજ 50 લાખ 1 કરોડ જેવું કરી શકો. તો પણ લોકો હવે એ ધ્યાનમાં નથી રાખતા, હોતા નથી. આપણે ઇન્સ્યોરન્સ કવરેજ આપણા દેશમાં એટલું ઓછું છે કે આ એક બહુ મોટી પેલી છે જેને આપણે એને પણ કવરેજ કરવું જોઈએ. એ બધું વસ્તુ એની ગાઈડન્સ અમે આપીએ છીએ. પણ એમાં એટલે આજે પ્રોટેક્શન નો પાર્ટ છે એ ખાલી અમે જ કરી શકીએ, કે મેં એના માટે તમારે લાયસન્સ ને બધું જોઈએ. પણ આ તો જસ્ટ તમને વાત કીધી ને કે આ બધી પણ ગાઈડન્સ અમે આપી શકીએ. માનો કે તમે એમાં કમિશન ના મળતું હોય પણ એટલીસ્ટ તમને સલાહ જોતી હોય, પૂછવું હોય તો એ પણ તમને હેલ્પ કરી શકીએ. અથવા કોઈને લોન લેવી હોય, મકાન માટે લોન લેવી હોય, ઘર માટે લોન લેવી હોય, અથવા કોઈ લોન ચાલતી હોય એને ચેન્જ કરવી હોય, તો એની અંદર પણ તમે એનો પણ તમે બેનિફિટ આમાંથી લઈ શકો મારા તરફ.
Thank you very much, Apurva bhai.
Sir, I think there is a question in the chat box from Jyotsna Madam. 2007 and 2008 reputation locally for real estate and infrastructure.
Could you come again with the question? I am not very clear.
Yes, sir. 2007 and 2008 reputation locally for real estate and infrastructure. Jyotsna ma'am, is it right? That's what you wanted to ask?
Let me try to explain. જ્યોત્સનાબેન, આ તમે એવું કહેવા માંગો છો કે 2007-2008 માં જે થયું હતું રિયલ એસ્ટેટમાં માર્કેટમાં, એનું કંઈક તમે પૂછવા માંગો છો? તમારો સવાલ એવો કઈ છે?
ज्योत्सनाबेन ने अनम्यूट करो.
હા
મને લાગે એમને જાતે જ કરવું પડે.
હા જાતે જ કરવું પડશે. ક્વેશ્ચન એ રિલેટેડ લાગે છે 2007-8 માં જે થયું હતું એ હવે થવાના ચાન્સીસ છે કે નહીં?
हाँ पंकज जी 2007-2008 में रियल एस्टेट मार्केट में जो आया था इम्पैक्ट, उसका कुछ आपको मतलब ये इज इट अ सिमिलर स्टेट काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन वी आर इन और
एक्चुअली नॉट सो? अगर आप रियल एस्टेट में देखें तो रियल एस्टेट का साइकिल थोड़ा लंबा चलता है। तो अगर देखिए इंडिया में लास्ट टाइम जब रियल एस्टेट के भाव बढ़ना चालू हुए थे 2004 में, एंड 2004 से करीब लिटरली 2010-11 तक रियल एस्टेट के भाव बढ़े थे। अभी जो ग्लोबल ट्रेंड है, अगर आप देखेंगे चाइना में या यूएस में भी रियल एस्टेट के प्राइसेस 14 साल के बाद मूव होना चालू हुए। मेरे हिसाब से इंडिया में भी वैसा ही सिनेरियो पैन आउट हो रहा है, बिकॉज बड़े शहर में अगर आप देखेंगे तो नंबर ऑफ बिल्डर्स कम हो गए। एक तो IL&FS के बाद में फंडिंग लिटरली बंद हो चुका है, मिलता ही नहीं है लोगों को। दूसरा ये है कि आपका एक तो इंटरेस्ट रेट भी लोअर है, एंड जैसे मैंने बताया इनपुट कॉस्ट प्राइसेस। तो बेसिकली क्या है कि अभी जो इन्वेंट्री है वो अगर आप देखिए तो उसकी डिमांड अच्छी है। एटलीस्ट टियर 1 सिटीज में जो भी बड़े बिल्डर हैं उनकी सेल्स ग्रोथ लास्ट क्वार्टर में काफी अच्छी थी, 15 अप्रैल तक भी बिफोर लॉकडाउन अच्छी थी। तो जैसे जैसे इन्वेंट्री कंज्यूम हो जाएगी तो इवेंचुअली क्या रियल एस्टेट प्लेयर्स अपना मार्जिन प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए थोड़ा तो भाव बढ़ाएंगे, बिकॉज आपके इनपुट कॉस्ट प्राइसेस बढ़ गए। जब वो होगा तो आपका रियल एस्टेट के प्राइसेस में भी वो दिखने वाला है। तो रेसिडेंशियल में तो लग रहा है कि एक क्लियर अप ट्रेंड है। कमर्शियल में थोड़ा अभी डाउट है कि कमर्शियल में क्या होगा, कि अभी जैसे कि काफी सारी कंपनीज सोच रही हैं कि कितने वर्क फ्रॉम होम होंगे और कितना ये होगा, या कल को कुछ नॉर्म आ जाता है कि नहीं आपको 2 लोगों के सीटिंग स्पेस में थोड़ा गैप करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि आपको ऐसा प्रिवेंट करना है। तो वो एक अभी चीजें बाकी है, बट रेसिडेंशियल साइड में सिचुएशन काफी क्लियर लगती है कि आपका डिमांड और प्राइसेस आई थिंक नॉर्थवर्ड या ऊपर की तरफ ही जाने वाले हैं। वो ठीक है, अभी 1 या 1.5 साल शायद आपको नजर नहीं आएगा, बट इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ टाइम बिफोर प्राइसेस कीप मूविंग अप। आई थिंक यूएस एंड चाइना वगैरह में ऑलरेडी होना चालू हुआ है। आई थिंक इंडिया में ये मैटर ऑफ टाइम है कि बिफोर थिंग्स विल स्टार्ट पिकिंग अप। तो जितने भी आपके बड़े बिल्डर हैं, अगर आप देखिए उनके पास में ऑप्शन क्या है, वो इक्विटी भी रेस कर सकते हैं, उनको बैंक से भी पैसा मिल जाता है, सबको मिल जाता है। तो बाकी और आपके जो छोटे बिल्डर्स हैं आई थिंक दे आर इन अ बैड शेप, एंड सो विच इज व्हाई आपका फॉर्मूलाइज या जो बड़े प्लेयर्स हैं जो लिस्टेड है उनका मार्केट शेयर बढ़ते बढ़ते अभी 19% हो गया है। तो मेरे हिसाब से ये ट्रेंड चलने वाला है, एंड बायर भी थोड़े कंफर्टेबल रहते हैं, बिकॉज कहीं ना कहीं जो प्रीवियस एक्सपीरियंस था बाइंग एक्सपीरियंस की, पहले बिल्डर ये करते थे कि आप पैसा ले लेते थे, फिर उसके बाद में आप साइकिल चालू करते थे और 6-7-8 साल में डिलीवर करते थे। अभी आई थिंक रेरा में आपको उतना ज्यादा ऑप्शन मिलता नहीं है, आपको पैसा एस्क्रो अकाउंट में रखना पड़ता है। तो आई थिंक काफी सारी चीजें सरकार ने भी सुधारी हैं। आई थिंक ये सेक्टर मेरे हिसाब से इफ नॉट नाउ अगले 1-1.5 साल के बाद में जरूर परफॉर्म करेगा। एंड ये 2008 जैसा सिनेरियो तो बिल्कुल नहीं है। आई थिंक वो एक एक्सेस आएगा, बट अभी तो ऐसा कोई आई थिंक उसके लिए पहले बूम आना जरूरी है, फिर उसके बाद में आई थिंक बस्ट होगा।
थैंक यू पंकज। प्रणव भाई कोई છે બીજા સવાલ?
સમીરભાઈ બીજા કોઈ ક્વેશ્ચન લાગતા નથી હવે.
We end our session. I thank both the speakers and ICICI Group, Securities, everybody for having addressed our members. And I'm sure that every 6 months, Pandeyji, Apurva bhai, we will request you. So whatever you have said today, we can review, and what new upcoming research are there, we can get acquainted with that. And with this, I thank you once again, your whole team. Thank you very much, all participants. I hope you all have learned something from today. And Apurva bhai will await your mail so I can forward it to all our members. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Samir bhai.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you, Samir
Pankaj.
sir, Amit sir, and Pranav sir, and thank you, Apurva ji and Pankaj sir for your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
so much.
We
Thank
would
you.
like to host many more sessions for GISA members again.
Sure, we will continue.
For sure.
Ma'am, write it down in your directory. You call me after 4, 5 months, fifth
Will
month,
do.
and we'll have one program every 6 months.
Sure.
Surely.
Yeah,
Sure.
hopefully next program would be at AMA.
Sure, sir. Definitely. We would like to host on AM as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Tasha,
Bye.
stay safe. Yeah, bye.